Well, huzzah and well met once again, my artificers and wizards of Redstone. And today I have a very personal design, I suppose. Something I've wanted to build for a long time. Even before they actually announced the Auto Crafter, I had hoped for one. But regardless, this video was actually prompted by an acquaintance of mine on Reddit who asked for improvements on their own automatic kelp processor. They were using a redstone clock of sorts to resupply the furnace and asked if there were any sorts of improvements. So I felt obligated to share my video here, or share my design, anyways. You will notice a few familiar designs from some of my previous videos, and if not, I will link those descriptions or link those videos in the description of this one. You'll see my automatic crafter circuit. Now, these are not my own design, even though I keep saying they're mine. You'll see them from my videos, but I've taken them from other places. How this works is a crafter is detecting how many items are within it, and another crafter, I'm using another crafter here with signal strength of 8 out of 9, is sending a signal as well. And when the signal of this redstone dust is changed, this observer will observe it and cycle this crafter, which you'll see is part of this here. Uh, the purple concrete is used for a separate circuit. It's the white concrete block here in this one. But over top of this observer, you can actually pivot half of this circuit so it takes up a 3x3 area, or an L shape, as it were. And you'll see the green concrete, like this one right here, set in front. This is our output crafter, and this is our signal crafter, which will set to 8, so that once our output crafter finds a signal strength of 8 or greater, it will activate this redstone from this side, which the observer will notice and cycle the crafter, and then it will reset. It will also have a secondary cycle, but since dried kelp only makes one type of item, we will only ever see dried kelp being turned into dried kelp blocks. You'll see this thing is currently working right now because our smart circuit has told it that it doesn't have enough of its own fuel. So it will continue to resupply itself until it has enough that overage output is sent below to this right here. From this white concrete block to these bottom two white glass blocks, you'll see is the shulker box loader circuit that I use often in my videos, right here with the blue concrete. That can be pivoted around a couple of different points so that it also takes up only a 3x3 area. As you'll see, once you add the buttons and the glass blocks to the outside, it takes up a 4x4 area, but you get the idea. And finally, when we output our fuel to resupply, it goes through our mechanical item elevator, denoted here with the yellow and orange, to resupply this hopper here that supplies our smoker with its fuel. I want to give a little bit of a shout out to my viewer, Old Rusty, again. He had a great video on fuel efficiency and whatnot, and kelp is not the most efficient fuel, but if you have an infinite source of fast growing kelp, you need not worry, especially with a machine that resupplies itself and never lets itself run out. So, with that, this purple concrete block is part of another circuit that we'll explain in just a moment. Normally, I would use white concrete to denote blocks that are only for holding up other circuit blocks. But for this one, I wanted to point out the part of the circuit that's most important. You can see our crafter circuit here. And whoop, we're not quite close enough. But you can see our comparator is lit up as this thing loads up. It takes 5 seconds per item for the smoker to dry one out. And we'll just show this for a moment for completionist's sake. You'll watch this cycle and make us you saw it cycle, and then if you were watching closely, you saw the secondary cycle come back through. That's when this observer observes the redstone being returned to our static crafter. The only time I've seen this be a problem is if you're trying to make hay bales. It will occasionally make you bread. So set your static crafter to 7 in that case. Right now, not a big worry. Dried kelp only ever makes kelp blocks. It doesn't make kelp loaf or anything of that nature. So there you have that, a little bonus bit of wisdom for your automatic crafting circuits. So what we're worried about is everything from this shulker box upward. We have this line of hoppers here directly down into our shulker box. It doesn't need to be. You can see this is our shulker box loader and then our silo. Once again, other circuits from other videos that I've made before. These hoppers are not necessary for this video. They just supply this dispenser with empty shulker boxes for the loader. So we can take them out to absolve confusion here. What we want to do is place a fence post and then place a minecart with hopper atop these 2 hoppers here. If you've seen my distributor video, you'll know that a minecart with hopper can output items to both of the hoppers that it's sitting on. It can do as many as 4, but we're only using 2 right here because we have one side to resupply and one side for overage output. So how this works is you go and you run a comparator out the back of our fuel supply hopper. You'll see we have 6 dried kelp blocks in here working right now. This will continue to load up dried kelp blocks into this hopper and into the smoker ultimately until it has a full stack in here and a full stack plus almost a half in this hopper. When that happens, that will be enough signal from the comparator to light up this redstone enough that it shuts off this torch. You may know this circuit as a NOT gate. When this torch turns off, well, okay, while this torch is on, this hopper here under the green fence post or the warped fence post is locked. No items can go into or pass through this hopper. So all of our outputted kelp blocks or dried kelp blocks will go to this hopper, which go to this chest. Now it's very important that you face this hopper forward and into a chest rather than straight down and then into this chest. For whatever reason, on Bedrock, this hopper will not get locked by this repeater if you direct your items straight down. So be sure that you move this or aim this hopper forward into the chest. As you can see, I'll get an angle right there. You can see it outputs to this chest, to this hopper, to this chest. Then these observers are bringing this signal all the way around to our mechanical item lifter or item elevator. And be sure you go watch that video. to know how to build one of these, but I'll give you a pause here so that you can see how it's put together if you just like to run through it without the more detailed video. Anyways, the dried kelp blocks will fall through here, come through these hoppers, and be directed into these droppers, which will automatically send it up here to our supply side. And you'll see we are gaining. Every kelp block that's coming through obviously is being run back through to our supply side because we don't have enough to light up that comparator there. So what happens when this signal is enough from the comparator to turn this torch off is the signal swaps sides. It can't go through this torch anymore, which does not light up this redstone, this repeater, or this redstone. So this redstone line lights up this repeater, soft powers our purple block, and and then powers this repeater, which locks up this hopper. So when we have enough fuel, this hopper that supplies the fuel or the supply line will be locked up, and all of our extra kelp blocks will run down to what is our shulker box loader here. So the overage in quotation marks will be offloaded rather than resent to supply. So I can show you how this works. With enough blaze rods, we've lit up our comparator and we've lit up our redstone line so that our torch is now turned off and our repeater and our purple block and our next repeater are turned on. With a shulker box, you have to have the space to open it up, but you will see that well, we'll just take those out of there and prove it to you. That our next kelp blocks are going to come through and be loaded into our shulker box. Once again, you need not have a shulker box loader here to make this thing work. You can just directly send it straight down to a treasure box as you would like. And there you have it. As long as you have, like I said, a full stack within within the smoker. Well, we don't have a full stack within the smoker, but as long as there is a stack and almost a half here, I believe it's 26 items exactly, you will have this circuit shut off or turned on the outside here or inside, however you'd like it, so that this minecart where our crafter outputs to the minecart with hopper, it doesn't look like it, but it sends it directly to the minecart with hopper, which then routes it one way or the other, depending on which hopper is locked and which is unlocked. And there you have it. That is your smart, automatic, self resupplying furnace. And without further ado, I want to thank you all, especially my Reddit acquaintance, for prompting me to make this video. I am your White Sun Paladin, and I will see you in my next video. Be blessed on your next quest, and I will see you after my next adventure.